Hello, today we will be meeting to have an annual case conference for our student. Our student will be referred to as Bob. So today the purpose of the meeting is to have an annual case conference for Bob. And Mom, I just wanted to confirm with you that you did receive the procedural safeguards that I provided to you via email. Okay, great, thank you. And then I would just like to introduce everyone who is in attendance for Bob's team. We have myself, Mrs. Gazzillo. I am Bob's teacher of record. We have Mr. Smith with us, the assistant principal, and then Ms. Murphy, who is Bob's general education teacher in ELA. So we are just going to go right into the present levels of performance for Bob, and we will start off just talking about his performance in reading. Currently, Bob is attending his ELA class within the general education classroom, but there is exceptional education support within that classroom. His current grade is a B. He has 0 missing assignments, according to Mrs. Murphy. He does have above average participation, and he shows an eagerness and willingness to learn new concepts and ideas. However, Mrs. Murphy does express concern over the group participation within the classroom. She says that Bob at times struggles working with his peers, more so just he would rather work by himself, it seems. On his iLearn assessment, he scored a 5,535, which placed him at a level of approaching proficiency. In his progress monitoring goal, monitoring his ability to answer comprehension questions on text at his instructional level, he scored an average of 71.2% across 4 trials. The goal was to have 80% across 3 out of 4 trials. So he did not meet this goal. However, he is showing progress within this area, which is worth noting and celebrating. But we do believe that he would still benefit from continued support as a team. Mom, would you agree with that? Okay, great. We will revisit that when we talk about his provisions and what he will have offered to him through his IEP this year. Then just going into written expression, Bob again has a B. At iLearn, he scored at or near proficient, which is great for him, and that level states that he could often independently organize and develop writing for argumentative, informative, and narrative purposes, using evidence or details to support ideas. He often uses appropriate word choice, sentence structure, and punctuation on previous progress monitoring goal. However, he did not meet this goal. He only met the goal criteria in 2 out of 3 trials. So again, he is showing progress within this area. Would you agree with this statement, Ms. Murphy? Okay, lovely, thank you. Then going on to math, Bob does receive math instruction as well in the general education classroom. His current grade is a B. He does, however, have 1 missing assignment. His teacher reports his strength to be his on-task behavior, his focus, and motivation to learn. Again, the teacher did report that an area of weakness for Bob was his willingness to collaborate with peers and partners when it's peer-to-peer discussion about certain topics. For iLearn, he scored a 6,478, which placed him below proficiency. So that is in comparison to the district average of 6,524. iLearn identified an area of weakness to be the algebraic functions, computation, and number sense. He scored at near, however, for geometry and measurement, data analysis, and statistics. So while he does have some areas of strength within this area, there are still some areas of weakness. So we do believe that it is appropriate that Bob continue receiving special education support within the general education classroom. Going into social and emotional present level, he is sometimes reluctant to collaborate with peers and participate in group activities, but he does raise his hand in class without prompting. We do not have any behavioral concerns to report, Mom, regarding his defiance or physical or verbal aggression. We know that was a behavior that we saw a little bit more frequently with Bob while he was younger in elementary, but so far we haven't seen anything this year, so we don't have anything to report. Did you have any comments on that? Is there something you're seeing different at home? Okay, great. I'm glad you're seeing the same thing. Going on to his adaptive present level, he's able to ambulate his environment independently throughout his school day. He has been observed at times to struggle with navigating those busy hallways and stairwells during passing periods and dismissal times. So one of the accommodations we have been providing to Bob is that we have been letting him leave a few minutes early to retrieve his belongings, or making sure that one of us, either myself or a paraprofessional, bring his belongings to his classroom so he doesn't have to go all the way back across the school. Then finally going on to his medical present level, Mom, you had previously reported to his team that he has a history of taking lactulose, Miralax, Centrum liquid multivitamin. Is that still the same, or have there been any changes? Okay, great. And is he still seeing that GI specialist and the behavior specialist? Okay, I'm just going to make note of that and make sure that we keep that the same since it hasn't changed. And then, Mom, do you have any concerns? I know that previously in our emails you had discussed you were concerned about masks and the possibility of going back to maskless. Were you concerned about anything else? Okay, so you also want me to make note about that he is hesitant to eat lunch around his unmasked peers? Great. Mr. Smith, is there anything that we could think of to provide Bob so that he does feel more comfortable eating in the environment that he's in at school? Great. I do think him eating in the library would be an appropriate alternative right now because it's really important that Bob eats while he's at school. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So just moving on, then we will just discuss the new goals for him. Mom, I decided to keep the goals relatively the same, and I did keep a reading comprehension goal that states that he will read a text at his Lexile level and answer comprehension questions to 80% accuracy in 3 out of 4 trials. I did not get baseline data on Bob because we know he's been out for quarantine, so he hasn't been at school long enough for me to feel like I could get an accurate representation of that. However, I will be adding that baseline goal, taking that baseline data and implementing a goal on that, especially after we get back those NAWIA results. Is that okay with you, Mom? Okay. And then same thing, I was going to keep in the writing goal. This time, just something that we had noticed in the classroom was that sometimes he struggles with the mechanics of writing. So this goal was going to target more so of those mechanics in his writing, such as his sentence structure and his punctuation. So the goal states that he will write a 5-sentence paragraph paying attention to mechanics and sentence structure and punctuation to 80% accuracy with no more than 3 errors and in 3 out of 4 trials. Does that sound good? Great. And then the last thing was that I want to discuss as a team is that I know that previously he had not had a goal in math, but I am just thinking that maybe we should implement a goal in math because of what we are seeing through that iLearn data. Obviously, I think that once we get this NAWIA data back, that'll be a more accurate representation of where Bob is currently performing at. However, just right now, the data that I have shows that he might need a little bit more support in math, so I think a new progress monitoring goal in that area would be appropriate. What does the team think? Okay, so I am going to wait then till we get that NAWIA data, see those specific areas, and then we will go ahead and create a progress monitoring goal. So before the IEP is finalized, I will send that out to review still in the draft form, and if the team's all in agreement, we will go ahead and once we implement that IEP, have that in there. Great. And then for services, we're going to keep most of it the same, Mom. Right now, Bob receives those 15 minutes of counseling services a month to get some social skills work and to kind of help alleviate that anxiety that Bob gets in social settings with his peers. We are going to keep the 30 minutes a day for 4 days of 30 minutes a day, 4 days a week for that intensive reading intervention that we're doing, which is Mind Play. So far, Bob has been making great progress on that, so we do still believe that's appropriate. And then we also are going to add, instead of just the 30 minutes a week, that we have previously here in the general education classroom, we're going to go ahead and, not 30 minutes a week, 30 minutes a day. We're going to double that to 60 minutes a day, 4 days a week, so 240 minutes a week to address both of his math and his ELA needs within the general education classroom while he is receiving that support now that has not been in his IEP. So we want to make sure that that support continues for him onto next year. Are we all in agreement with that? Okay, great. And then finally, just going over his accommodations, we would like to just kind of briefly mention some of the ones that he has and see if as a team we think that these are still appropriate or if he needs anything else. Right now, he is provided with additional breaks. He is tested in small group. He's allowed to use noise-canceling headphones during assessments and also within the classroom. He does have access to a multiplication table in the math classroom and on math assessments. And text is read aloud to student, all items except items testing reading comprehension. And right now there is a new accommodation through the state that allows full reading comprehension, but just based on the data and seeing that Bob is making progress within this area, I do not feel that's appropriate for him at this time. Are you in agreement with that, Mom? Okay, awesome. So I am going to go ahead and send this IEP out after I make the revisions that we discussed at this case conference. And I just would like to thank you, Mom, for contributing your concerns and your ideas for these school services and accommodations. And for you, Mrs. Murphy, for helping me contribute to that present level of performance for his performance within the ELA classroom. Thank you so much.